Get ready. Not just in the casual sense of preparing yourself, but in the sacred, soul-stirring sense of standing at the threshold of something much larger than yourself. Because while the pink full moon may seem gentle, draped in softness and poetic beauty, its true energy is anything but subtle. It does not whisper. It arrives with a frequency that commands your full presence, and it stirs a shift that is not to be taken lightly. This moon isn't here to decorate your night sky, or simply sit pretty on your social media timeline. It's here to open a portal, and this portal does not knock politely before it enters your life. It bursts through, it rewrites timelines, it repositions you, and all of that begins between the night of April 12th and the early hours of April 13th, depending on where in the world you find yourself. No matter where you are, it knows how to find you. Despite its name, the pink moon has nothing to do with actual color. It's a reference to the blooming of wild ground phlox, one of the first spring flowers. But that symbolic blooming, that part is very real. This moon arrives as nature stretches and yawns awake after a long winter slumber. It arrives as the earth herself begins to pulse with renewed life. And it carries that same push for renewal directly into your energy field. But this is not some gentle unfolding. It's a cracking open. It's the end of a karmic chapter, and the birth of something that, up until now, has only lived in your dreams. You see, the pink full moon is not merely about closure. That would be too easy. Closure implies finality, but this moon is more complex. It offers something deeper than endings. It offers beginnings, but only if you're willing to stand naked in your truth. Only if you're willing to release not just what isn't working, but the version of you that tolerated it for so long. This is the kind of celestial moment that doesn't wait for you to feel ready. It initiates motion. And that motion may come quickly, without explanation, without warning. Relationships may shift overnight. Opportunities may arise or dissolve in a breath. Your plans may crumble so your purpose can rise. But here's what many won't tell you. This moon carries wish-granting power. Yes, it does, but not the fairy tale kind. Not the kind where you whisper into the wind and everything magically aligns. This moon listens deeply, not to your words, but to your energy. It tunes into your truth, your effort, your growth, and it grants the kind of wishes that are tethered to your highest good, not just your momentary wants. Which means that sometimes a wish granted looks like a detour. Sometimes it feels like a loss. Sometimes the path to what you've asked for requires the removal of what you've outgrown. The wish is real, but it may come disguised as chaos before it reveals its beauty. This is not meant to scare you. It's meant to awaken you. There's a sacred intelligence in the way this moon works. And it sees what you often hide from yourself. It sees the quiet ways you've dimmed your own light to make others feel more comfortable. It sees how you've been performing calm when your soul has been screaming. It sees where you've confused being agreeable with being aligned. And under the glow of this full moon, those patterns are coming up to be transmuted. Not judged, not shamed, just transmuted. This is your chance to reclaim the parts of you that have been put on mute. And while you're being called into this powerful personal reckoning, you're also being positioned as a vessel for something bigger than you. Yes, you. You are being placed, knowingly or not, into the path of someone else's transformation. You may not understand how or why just yet, and that's okay. You don't need all the answers. But understand this, you are being prepared to be a catalyst, a mirror, a moment, a necessary spark in someone else's awakening. You will not fully know the impact of your presence until after the ripple has been made, but make no mistake, your energy is becoming medicine for someone else's soul. Your path, your pain, your healing, it is not wasted. It is being woven into something holy. Still, before you can fully step into that role, there's something crucial you need to know. This moon has its own rhythm, its own rules, and if you are not aligned with them, the shifts will not wait around until you are. This isn't about missing out. It's about energetic access. Not everyone gets through this gate. Not because they're undeserving, but because they're unprepared. This moon is not here for wishful thinkers. It's here for soul warriors. It's here for the ones who've been doing the work in silence, for the ones who've cried in the dark and still got up with grace, for the ones who've stopped asking for permission to be themselves. Manifestation under this moon doesn't work like it used to. It's not about vision boards and mantras alone. It's about embodiment. The energy of this moon doesn't respond to hope. It responds to harmony. It responds to truth. It responds to consistency. If your vibration doesn't match the frequency of what you're asking for, it simply won't come through. Not as punishment, but as protection. Because wish fulfillment without readiness is actually just self-sabotage in disguise. So if things haven't been clicking into place, if doors have remained shut or progress has stalled, look again. You are not being ignored by the universe. You are being guided. Sometimes it takes a delay to show you the discrepancy between what you say you want and what you're actually holding space for. Sometimes your own energetic field becomes the bottleneck. And sometimes it's not what's missing. It's what you haven't let go of yet. What's more, during this lunar portal, there's something tricky moving through your field. Something that doesn't feel like a threat. It doesn't show up with malice. In fact, it shows up dressed in kindness. It speaks in praise, in soft admiration. But not all praise is pure, and not all encouragement is expansion. You need to listen carefully now, because some of what has been lifting you up has also been anchoring you in place. It's the applause for your selflessness, when your soul is depleted. It's the admiration for your calmness, when your voice has been silenced. It's the celebration of your strength, when you've never been allowed to fall apart. These aren't compliments. They're cages. And the more your ego eats them up, the more your soul quietly withers. Because your higher self doesn't want to be palatable. It wants to be powerful. It doesn't want to be praised for survival. It wants to be supported in thriving. So pay attention. Ask yourself, does this praise truly honor who I am? Or does it reinforce a version of me that feels safe to others? Not every kind word is manipulation, of course. There is still so much real love in the world. But the pink moon asks you to sharpen your discernment. Because only by recognizing what keeps you small can you choose to rise beyond it. And you will rise. Oh, you will. The version of you that has been quietly building in the background, the one that no one saw coming because you've been so careful, so humble, so hidden, is about to step into the light. Not loudly, not forcefully, but inevitably. And not everyone around you will know how to handle that. Some will misunderstand. Some will fall away. Some may resist. But none of that is your burden to carry. Your growth does not require their permission. This full moon is not about being liked. It's about being real. And realness is messy. It's unfiltered. It's radiant in ways that perfection can never be. This moon is going to bring up things you thought you'd buried. It's going to ask you to tell the truth when lying would be easier. It's going to stretch you past your comfort zone, because that's where your destiny lives now. But through all of that intensity, it's also offering you the kind of rebirth that changes everything. So breathe, anchor yourself, trust what's surfacing. Don't rush the understanding. The full picture will come. Let yourself be moved, even when you don't fully know where you're going. Let the mystery be holy, not frightening. Let the unknown be a canvas, not a curse. You are not just experiencing a moon. You are experiencing a moment of sacred transformation. And in this moment, your job is not to have it all figured out. Your job is to meet the moon with honesty, with courage, with readiness. Your job is to say yes to the unraveling, to the remembering, to the becoming. Let this pink full moon be your turning point. Not just a night in the sky, but a shift in your soul. Because the portal is open, the energy is moving, and the only question left is, are you truly ready to rise? Your body already knows what's coming, even before your mind can catch up. Long before you begin to notice patterns, long before your thoughts start stringing the pieces together, your body is already listening to the quiet hum of the universe, translating energy into sensation. That tingling in your fingers, the warmth rising in your chest without cause, the sudden chills down your arms in a perfectly still room. None of it is accidental. You're not imagining it. You're not overreacting. You're simply more attuned than you've realized. These sensations, the odd metallic taste in your mouth that comes and goes without warning, the fleeting scent of something sweet in the air that no one else seems to notice, or the inexplicable fatigue that crashes over you in waves. These are not symptoms of disorder. They're not signs that something is wrong. They're signs that something is different. They're whispers from your energetic body, nudging your awareness towards something deeper that's on its way. You're not falling apart. You're aligning, shifting, sinking. There's a sacred intelligence woven into your cells. A primal, ancient awareness that responds to more than sunlight and food and sleep. It responds to frequency, to cycles, to the celestial clockwork that turns the tides and stirs the soil. So it should come as no surprise that when the moon begins to stir, especially one as potent as this upcoming pink moon, your body stirs with it. The moon doesn't only influence the waters of the earth, it pulls on the oceans within you, the tides of your nervous system, the currents of your emotions, the subtle waters of your intuition. All of it responds. All of it awakens. And even though this full moon hasn't fully risen yet, its energy is already rippling through the unseen layers of your reality. If you felt like you're on the edge of something, like life is holding its breath, like something intangible is reaching for you through the veil, you're not wrong. There's a certain electric hum in the air right now, a surreal sharpness to moments that should feel ordinary, a sense that something is off, not in a frightening way, but in a way that makes you look twice at everything, trying to catch the edge of a mystery you can almost see. The pink moon, named not for its color but for the wild phlox that blooms with it, isn't just a seasonal marker, it's a portal, and it's opening. But this portal isn't one that takes you away from your life. It draws you deeper into it. It doesn't offer escape. It offers remembrance. Because beneath all the layers of your conditioning, your fears, your habits, and your self-doubt, there is a version of you that remembers. A version of you untouched by the noise, still holding the blueprint of who you truly are. This moon is reaching for that version. It's asking you to peel back the stories you've been told, and the ones you've told yourself, the roles you've played, the masks you've worn, the expectations you've tried to meet to belong, to succeed, to be loved. It's not asking you to be more than you are. It's inviting you to become more of who you've always been. There's such deep liberation in that invitation. But there's also responsibility. Because once you remember, you can't unknow. Once you see the truth of who you are, You can't pretend not to. And that kind of awakening demands courage. The pink moon does not hand out blessings like confetti. It's not a passive, feel-good energy that floats gently down on everyone in equal measure. No, this moon mirrors you. It meets you in your honesty. It responds to integrity. It amplifies alignment, which means that the more in tune you are with your truth, the more potent this moon becomes. And for those who have been doing the inner work, quietly, persistently, without applause, this moon brings something rare, something earned. As it rises, let it be more than a pretty sight in the sky. Let it be a moment of sacred reckoning, a pause in which you ask yourself, where have I been shrinking? Where have I been silent when my soul wanted to sing? Where have I accepted less, played small, or traded authenticity for approval? Let the moon's light cast its glow into the forgotten corners of your spirit. Not to shame you, but to illuminate what's ready to rise. Because here's the truth that so many overlook. You're not just here to witness this shift. You are the shift. You are the embodiment of a frequency that is rising across the planet. And that's why you're feeling it in your bones. That's why your body is humming, why your senses are heightened, why your sleep is restless and your dreams feel like messages. This isn't random. It's resonance. It's alignment. It's you remembering that you are, and always have been, in sacred dialogue with the cosmos. In the days leading up to the full moon, you might feel a strange sort of pressure building, not just emotionally or spiritually, but physically. Tension in your neck, tightness in your chest, a restlessness in your legs, as if your body is bracing for something it can't name. These are not just symptoms, they're echoes of a coming frequency shift. Think of them as little spiritual earthquakes, tremors shaking loose what sounds stagnant before the real tectonic transformation begins. And yet, amid these signs of release and preparation, there's something else rising. A surprising burst of momentum, a magnetic pull toward action. People all over are reporting the same thing. An unexpected drive to clean, to sort, to organize, to reach out, to begin again. This wave of motivation might catch you off guard, but it's not random either. It's your future self tugging on your present moment. It's the timeline you're destined for pulling you toward it. That sudden urge to send a message you've been holding off on, that's the energy moving through you. That need to finally begin the project that's been sitting in the back of your mind for months, that's your soul waking up. The impulse to forgive, to reconnect, to move in a new direction, that's not just inspiration. That's the sacred activation of this lunar portal working its way through you. Take it seriously. Because when the pink moon reaches its peak, those who acted when they felt the call, no matter how small the action, will find themselves aligned to receive something deeply resonant, something utterly meant for them. There's a mystical truth that often gets lost in modern noise. Before something powerful arrives, it often vanishes. It slips into silence. It steps into shadow. And that's exactly what this full moon is doing, in an astronomical and spiritual sense. On April 12th or 13th, depending on your location, something rare will occur. The moon will briefly pass in front of Spica, the brightest star in the Virgo constellation. Astronomers call this a lunar occultation, but in spiritual terms, it's something else entirely. It's symbolic, it's subtle, it's sacred. Spica has long been associated with purity, with harvest, and with the kind of blossoming that comes from consistent, quiet effort. Not the loud kind of success, but the soulful kind. The kind of reward that grows from patience, from showing up, from staying true when no one is watching. So, when the moon, our emotional mirror, temporarily hides Spica from view, it creates a symbolic eclipse within us. It stirs something quiet and deep, a sense that something we relied on has disappeared, that clarity has dimmed, that our inner compass is spinning, but don't mistake this for loss. What feels absent is simply undergoing alchemy. It hasn't vanished. It's transforming, because the universe, in all its wisdom, knows when to dim the lights, so we can stop relying on what's external and listen to what's within. It knows that sometimes our momentum needs to pause, not as punishment, but as preparation. Because when clarity returns, it doesn't come back the same. It comes back truer, rooted, aligned in a way that feels unshakable. And so, as you move through this sacred lunar window, don't rush to interpret everything. Don't force meaning onto every emotion or symptom. Instead, become a quiet witness. Trust that your body is translating what your mind hasn't yet caught up to. Let yourself feel without judgment. Let yourself rest without guilt. Let yourself rise without hesitation when the time calls for it. You are not broken. You are becoming. And this moon, it's not just a phase in the sky, it's a ceremony written in light. It's an ancient signal activating the part of you that was always meant to remember. Remember what? That you're not here by accident. That your sensitivity is a strength. That your emotions are sacred. And that your presence on this earth, in this moment, during this moon, is part of something vast, conscious, and divine. So breathe. Be still when stillness calls. Move when inspiration stirs. And most of all, trust the unfolding. Because this isn't just another full moon. It's a mirror, a test, a pulse of potential moving through your life. And it's whispering to you now, wake up, rise. Remember, if things start to feel vague or uncertain, don't fight it, don't panic. Don't assume something's wrong just because clarity isn't arriving on your schedule. There are moments in life where the fog is not a mistake. It's a transition, a sacred pause, a softening of boundaries so that something deeper, something more aligned, can rise from within. We often associate confusion with being lost, but sometimes it's a sign you're being recalibrated. You're not losing yourself. You're dissolving the outdated fragments of who you thought you had to be. There is something quietly powerful about these times when things feel hazy. When your mind doesn't have all the answers. When your usual sense of certainty seems to slip through your fingers like mist. In those moments, you are actually being invited to move into the wisdom of your body, your heart, and your intuition. Let the blur pass through you. Don't resist it. Don't try to define it. Just be with it, gently, patiently, because clarity is already returning. It's just not the kind of clarity that can be rushed or forced. It's refining itself in the stillness, in the quiet, in the pause, in the stretch of liminal space between your last chapter and your next. You won't be able to measure this process with a clock. No timestamp can hold this kind of transformation. It's something you'll feel in your bones long before you understand it with your mind. There's a part of this full moon energy, subtle, mysterious, and unspoken, that many will overlook. Not because it's invisible, but because it doesn't belong to the linear, logical world. It's not something you can intellectualize. It's not meant to be dissected or categorized. It lives in the realm of sensation, vibration, intuition. Somewhere between April 12th and 13th, there will be a fleeting window, maybe only an hour, when everything subtly shifts. You may not notice it in the sky. There might be no dramatic celestial sign. But if you tune in, really tune in, you'll feel it in the air. It will be like the energy around you has suddenly deepened, like the veil between the seen and unseen has grown thinner than paper. Some might call this a portal. Others might describe it as a thinning of the veil, a moment when dimensions overlap or consciousness expands. Call it what you will, but know that it is sacred. During this window, everything becomes exquisitely sensitive. You might find yourself pausing for no reason, suddenly alert. You may feel a chill sweep across your skin without any wind. You may hear a silence that doesn't just sound quiet. It feels profound, deliberate, reverent. It's as if the universe itself is holding its breath, waiting, and you, just as you are, will be invited into that breath, into that stillness. You'll know when it arrives, not because the clock strikes a certain hour, but because your body will register it first. The hairs on your arms may rise. Your breath might deepen. A random memory might pull at your heart in a way that feels eerily purposeful. Something in you will pause. Something will stir. That's your sign. That's the moment. Don't overthink it. Don't try to anchor it with logic. Just allow yourself to be fully present. Let your awareness soften. Let your spirit expand. Open yourself to what's here, even if it's wordless. You don't have to do anything to earn this energy. You don't have to be perfect, pure, or spiritually accomplished to receive it. You just have to show up, to listen, to be still. Often the most profound guidance doesn't arrive with fanfare. It doesn't appear as a loud sign, a glowing message, or a booming voice from the sky. It arrives as a gentle shift, a barely perceptible change in tone, a quiet nudge, a ripple in your emotional field. It's subtle, but unmistakable if your heart is open. If you stop resisting and simply lean into it, you'll receive exactly what you need. Not necessarily what you expect, but what you need. Always. It's okay to find stillness in the chaos. It's okay to let yourself smile, even when the world around you seems to be unraveling. The soul has its own rhythms, its own tides. Sometimes the most sacred breakthroughs come in the midst of what looks, on the surface, like breakdown. Sometimes peace finds you not when everything is calm, but when you finally stop demanding that life makes sense before you let yourself breathe. In the days leading up to this full moon, you may notice a strange sensation brewing within you. A kind of emotional shifting. A memory may rise to the surface, something from your past that once brought deep pain, a moment, a heartbreak, a wound you thought you had buried. And this time, instead of flinching or shutting down, you might find yourself smiling, maybe even laughing. Not because what happened was trivial or because you're dismissing your past, but because something fundamental within you has changed. You've stopped trying to fight it. You've stopped giving that pain the power to define you. And that's not avoidance, that's freedom. That's healing at its most raw and beautiful level. The kind that doesn't require a declaration or an Instagram post or anyone's approval. The kind that happens quietly, inside your chest, when your heart exhales for the first time in years, when the grip loosens, when the story stops owning you, when you feel the truth rise in your body that you have survived. And not just survived, but softened, deepened, become more whole. This full moon, called the pink moon, is not just about lunar cycles. It's about internal ones, emotional rebirth, the soft bloom after a long, invisible winter. It's here to help you dissolve the guilt you've unknowingly carried for surviving, for making it through, for becoming someone new. There's a strange, quiet grief that can come with healing, especially when it means letting go of the person you were when you were hurting. You might feel guilt for being okay, for laughing again, for finally feeling light in your body after years of carrying emotional weight. But healing is not betrayal. Joy is not disloyalty to your past. This full moon is asking you to let that guilt go, to understand that your light doesn't diminish the depth of what you've been through, it honors it. You're not just healing. You're rewriting the rules that shaped you. You're changing the emotional architecture of your inner world. And one of those old rules probably said something like, you can only be at peace when everything around you is peaceful. But that rule no longer applies. That belief is outdated. You are learning to hold peace inside you, like a quiet ember, regardless of the storm outside. That's true strength. That's the kind of groundedness that doesn't sway with the winds of circumstance. So yes, it's okay to smile while standing in the ashes of what once broke you. It's okay to feel light while walking away from something that once consumed you. It's okay if your healing doesn't look like healing to others. You don't owe anyone a performance. Your soul knows the truth. Your spirit knows what it took to arrive at this place, in this skin, with this wisdom in your bones, and no one can take that away from you. This full moon is not asking you to be perfect. It's asking you to be present, to be honest, to be soft with yourself. If tears come, let them. If laughter bubbles up, don't hold it back. This moon wants your wholeness, not your polished image. It wants your truth, not your mask. And if that truth is tender, uncertain, or still in process, that's more than enough. Let this be a time of release. Let yourself shed the shoulds, the guilt, the beliefs that no longer support your becoming. Let yourself sit with the mystery without trying to solve it. Let the moonlight touch the parts of you that have been hidden or hardened. Let it soften you. Let it bless you. Let it remind you that healing is not linear and growth is not always visible. The most important shifts often happen beneath the surface, quietly, humbly, in the spaces no one else sees. This moon is a witness to those invisible triumphs, to the resilience it took for you to keep showing up, to the way you kept your heart beating even when it was heavy, to the courage it takes to feel deeply in a world that sometimes asks you to numb. So breathe. Stay open. Let the veil thin. Let the silence speak. Let the energy wash through you, and trust, deep in your bones, that you're exactly where you need to be. Something ancient within you is waking up. Something sacred is stirring. Trust that. Let it rise. And when that 1 hour arrives, whether you're aware of it or not, whether you're alone or surrounded by others, whether you're crying or smiling or simply breathing, know this: you are part of something vast and holy. You are connected. You are seen. You are already becoming. And maybe you felt it lately, that subtle sense that something's different, like you've been walking through the world with a new kind of awareness, a quiet shift that no one else seems to notice. People might still talk to you the same, expect the same things from you, rely on the same responses. But deep down, you've changed. The way you feel things, the way you see things, the way you carry your story, it's all different now. And that difference, it might be confusing to those around you. Some people might not understand why you've gone quiet, why you're not reacting the way you used to. Maybe they're trying to console you in ways that no longer soothe. Maybe they expect you to grieve in a way that's visible, expressive, familiar. But you're not there anymore. You're not who you used to be. You've outgrown the old templates, the tired expectations, the emotional patterns that once defined you. You've stepped into a different rhythm, one that isn't loud, one that isn't always explainable, but one that's undeniably yours. And it's okay if others don't get it. It really is. You don't have to convince anyone of your growth. You don't have to spell it out or shrink yourself down to be legible to people who aren't walking your path. Not everyone will understand why you've changed, or how you're changing, and that's okay. Not everyone is meant to walk every step with you. Some people are only fluent in pain, and they won't understand your healing. Some only recognize struggle, so your quiet strength will confuse them. But the moon, the energy, they see you, they feel you, and more importantly, you're starting to see you too. That's what this season is really about. Recognizing yourself again. Not the self that was shaped by others' opinions, or by trauma, or by years of survival mode, but the self that's emerging now. The self that's shedding layers not out of bitterness, but out of truth. The self that's ready to exist without apology or performance. The version of you that doesn't need to be understood to be real. So let it be. That's the essence of true detachment. Not disconnecting from love, but letting go of the need to be interpreted all the time. This moon invites you into that sacred quiet where your growth doesn't require validation, where you don't have to over-explain your light to people who only know how to speak in shadows. Let this moon be your soft guide. Not a forceful push, but a gentle whisper. The kind of energy that reminds you that your paradoxes aren't problems to be solved, but messages to be listened to. The dualities in your life, joy and grief, expansion and stillness, knowing and confusion, aren't mistakes. They are part of your truth, part of your becoming. You don't have to make sense to anyone right now. You don't even have to make perfect sense to yourself. You just have to trust the feeling beneath the surface, the one that's been with you all along, the one that's patient, quiet, deep, and maybe that's the most challenging part of all, the silence. Because this pink moon doesn't come with loud signs. There's no dramatic lightning bolt of clarity, no undeniable synchronicities spelling it all out. Instead, there's stillness, a deep, heavy quiet that asks you to pause and listen, not to the world outside, but to the voice inside you, the one that doesn't need to shout, because it's rooted in truth. The uncertainty in the air now isn't the usual kind. It's not about surface-level choices or trivial indecision. It runs deeper than that. It feels like standing at the edge of something sacred, a moment that could change everything but refuses to tell you how. You might find yourself staring at two options, two paths, two doors, both open, both viable. And for once, there's no obvious sign pointing to one or the other, no intuition giving you a gentle nudge, just a stillness that asks, what do you want? What feels like truth? And that silence, it's not a void. It's not the universe ghosting you. It's the universe trusting you, watching you, waiting to see what you'll do when no one is giving you permission, because you don't need it anymore. You've grown past the place where you needed someone else to bless your choices. This moment isn't about being told what to do. It's about remembering that you've always known. It's unsettling, yes, because both options might look okay. Neither one screams danger. Neither one feels entirely wrong. And that's the point. This moon isn't here to make your decisions for you. It's here to show you how far you've come, to remind you that you are capable of moving forward, not out of fear or desperation, but from a place of quiet sovereignty. This is not about choosing the easiest path. It's about choosing the most honest one, the one that feels like a homecoming to the most healed version of you. So take a breath and ask yourself, not what feels safest, but what feels most aligned. Not what feels familiar, but what feels like growth. What choice feels like liberation, not from responsibility, but from old stories that never truly fit you? What choice feels like a celebration of how far you've come? Because you have come far. You've weathered storms no one saw. You've rebuilt yourself in silence. You've carried grief like a sacred flame and learned to honor your wounds without becoming them. And now, you're being asked to lead with the self that's emerging. Not the one that's afraid, but the one that's ready, the one that isn't waiting for the stars to align, because she realizes she is the alignment. And yes, there will still be doubt. That little voice in your head might whisper, "What if you're wrong? What if this isn't it?" But hear me when I say, doubt is not a red flag. It's the echo of your old self realizing she's no longer in control. It's the voice of fear watching itself dissolve. You don't have to fight it. Just let it pass through. Let it speak and then choose anyway. Not because you're certain, but because you trust yourself more than you trust the fear. This moon is a test, but not in the way you think. It's not about proving your worth. It's not about passing or failing. It's about reclaiming your power. It's about realizing that no sign, no reading, no approval from the outside world can replace the knowing that already lives inside of you. The knowing that says, you are allowed to choose. You are allowed to evolve. You are allowed to walk away from what no longer feels like truth, even if you once prayed for it. And that shift you've been feeling? It's not just around you, it's within you. You're not just observing a transition, you are the transition. You are the hinge moment in your own story. The chapter where everything begins to make sense. Not because it's perfect, but because it's real. Because it's yours. And maybe you won't see the ripple effects right away. Maybe the change you make today will seem small, just a shift in how you speak or a boundary you quietly enforce. Maybe it'll look like rest, like silence, like choosing not to respond to something that once triggered you. Maybe no one will notice, but the universe will. And someone, somewhere, will feel the impact of your choice. Because every time you choose authenticity over approval, every time you choose alignment over fear, you create space for others to do the same. You never know when your quiet bravery will be the mirror someone else needs. You never know when your whispered no or your silent yes will unlock something in someone else's heart. You never know when your healing will be the invitation they didn't know they were waiting for. And maybe you won't get to see that. Maybe you'll never hear the words. But trust that it matters. This moon isn't about the big bang. It's not about fireworks or obvious milestones. It's about the soft power of transformation that happens beneath the surface. The kind of change that's slow, deep, and irreversible. The kind that doesn't need applause to be real. It just needs you to keep going, to keep choosing, to keep trusting. You are the shift. You are the change you've been waiting for. And no, it might not look like much on the outside, but on the inside, you're becoming something wild and free, something rooted and rising, something sacred. So when you find yourself at that metaphorical door with no sign pointing left or right, just remember, you're not lost. You're learning to listen. You're learning to lead yourself. And that's the most powerful kind of clarity there is. This pink moon doesn't need to shine bright to be felt. It just needs to be seen by the one who's ready. And you're ready. And know, your presence, your evolution, your becoming, it won't always be received with open arms or understanding hearts. That's just the nature of deep transformation. Some people will pull away, quietly or suddenly, and you may not always understand why. Others, without even realizing what's happening, may be drawn to you like gravity, curious, intrigued, and even a little disoriented by your presence. But none of it is really about you in the way you might assume. It's not personal, even though it may feel that way. What they're responding to isn't your actions, your words, or your appearance. It's your energy. It's what you're holding now, this new frequency that doesn't fit neatly into the old version of you that they were comfortable with. You've shifted, you've expanded, and that expansion acts like a mirror. You've become a reflection, an unexpected and powerful one. A mirror they didn't ask for, one they didn't prepare themselves to see. Because when someone meets a version of you that's no longer entangled in old wounds or needing external validation, it confronts them with their own places of stagnation. It makes them feel, even if only unconsciously, where they've held back, where they've settled, where they've silenced their own truth, just to keep the peace. And while some might be inspired by that, awakened even, others might feel threatened or unsettled. But none of that is yours to carry. Your job was never to be digestible to everyone. Your path was never meant to fit the mold. You weren't sent here to stay the same. You're not here to be someone's comfort zone. You're here to be a living reminder that evolution is possible. You're here to embody what it means to listen deeply to your truth, even when it shakes the foundations of who you thought you were supposed to be. And when you do that, when you live from that sacred space of inner alignment, something powerful happens. The people who are meant to walk beside you will feel that resonance. They'll feel it not because you convinced them, not because you explained it in perfect words, but because your energy, your essence, speaks in a language deeper than words. And those who aren't ready, let them go with love. Release them without resentment. Their reaction isn't your burden to heal. It's simply their journey. They might circle back one day, they might not. But either way, you keep going. It's not about trying harder. It's not about doing more. It's not about fixing, pleasing, proving, or chasing. It's about the energy you're radiating now. And make no mistake, there is something undeniably different about you. The moon, the shifting cycles, the silent initiations you've passed through, all of it has changed you in ways that are invisible to the eye, yet impossible to ignore. You're no longer who you used to be, and thank the stars for that. You're carrying a different kind of frequency now, one that speaks of freedom, one that carries truth, even when your lips are silent. People feel it. They sense it in your presence, in your stillness, in your laughter, in your boundaries. Even if they don't know how to name it, even if they can't explain what draws them to you or repels them from you, they feel the vibration of your shift. You might begin to notice it in subtle ways. Strangers may open up to you about things they've never shared with anyone. People might linger in your presence, as though they're being nourished by something they can't quite name. Some may seek you out without knowing exactly why, only that something about you feels like home. Others may feel uncomfortable around you now. They may take a few steps back, not in anger or judgment, but in confusion. Because the energy you hold now speaks to a version of themselves they're not ready to meet yet. And that's okay. Not everyone is meant to go with you where you're heading. Some people were only ever meant to walk with you through a single chapter. Some were only here to teach you something, or to be a mirror themselves at an earlier point in your journey. When your vibration changes, your relationships naturally recalibrate. Don't let it make you bitter. Let it make you grateful. Let it make you open to what's ahead, rather than clinging to what's already run its course. You were never meant to shrink yourself to keep the peace. You were never meant to dim your light to be understood. And you most definitely weren't meant to abandon your truth, just to maintain connections that no longer honor your soul. So let them go, the ones who drift. Let them go in peace, and more importantly, stay rooted in who you are becoming. Stay grounded in the truth of who you've worked so hard to remember. This moon, this cycle, this sacred moment has carved something new into your soul. you become more than just a seeker. You've become a transmitter, a living, breathing channel of light, of wisdom, of remembrance. You are not here to convince anyone. You are here to be. And that is more than enough. You've become a transmission of freedom simply by being in alignment with your own truth. Every decision you make from that place, every time you choose authenticity over approval, every time you follow your inner knowing over external pressure, every time you honor your heart's voice, even when it scares you, you are giving others silent permission to do the same. You are sending ripples outward, ones you may never fully witness, but know this, they're happening. You may never know who you've impacted. You may never see the seeds you've planted bloom. You weren't sent here to watch every flower rise from the earth. You were sent to spark the bloom, to be the whisper that wakes a sleeping heart, to be the quiet reminder that someone needed to finally believe in their own transformation. That's the sacred beauty of your path. It's not always loud, it's not always visible, it's not always easy, but it is true. And what's true has a way of echoing far beyond what the eye can see. You are the moment that changes everything, not because of some grand gesture, but because of the quiet, consistent way you show up now. You are the shift that others feel but can't quite articulate. You are the presence that brings clarity just by being yourself. You are the light that illuminates a path, not just for yourself, but for everyone watching, even if they never say a word. And that's the thing. You don't have to do anything to be this. You don't have to strive or push or hustle your way into being seen. You just have to be. That's the magic of it. When you are in alignment with your soul, you become a lighthouse. Steadfast, unwavering, radiant. And the right ones will find you, not because you shouted your truth, but because you embodied it. If you're still here reading these words, then maybe you needed this reminder. Maybe your soul is exhaling a little. Maybe something in you recognizes that you're not alone in this quiet transformation. Maybe you've felt the growing pains, the solitude, the mystery of becoming someone new without knowing exactly where it's leading you. And maybe that's okay. Thank you for being present. Thank you for honoring your journey, even when no one else claps for it. Thank you for continuing to choose your light, even when the darkness tries to whisper doubt. Thank you for existing as a reminder to someone else, someone you may never meet, that rising is possible, that healing is real, and that truth is worth everything. If these words found you, resonated with you, stirred something in your heart, know that it's not an accident. Energy doesn't lie. There's a reason you're here, reading this now. There's a reason your soul paused to feel this message. And if you feel called to stay connected, to walk alongside these truths a little longer, you are always welcome. This space is for you. If you feel drawn to share what this awakened in you, what memories or longings or confirmations came alive in your chest, I'd love to hear. Your voice matters. Your truth is beautiful. And every time you speak it, you help someone else remember theirs. Until we meet again, keep listening to your inner knowing. Keep honoring what feels true. Keep letting go of what no longer fits. And above all, keep choosing your light. Again and again and again. Even when no one's watching. Even when it's hard. Especially then. Because you were never meant to be anything less than exactly who you are. And the world, whether it knows it or not, needs the medicine you carry. You are the spark. You are the moment. You are the light. And you are just getting started.